cooperation by supporting participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, or sexist comments, intimidating actions directed at coaches, players, officials, or any other team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. Also, the consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages and tobacco use is strictly prohibited. Thank you. Please stay away from the playing area and team bench area. Thank you for your cooperation and go Knights! In accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we'll begin with the word of prayer, which will be honored by Anna Lewis, a member of the men's soccer team. Now for your starting lineup. Starting for the Panthers. Leading off and playing center field, number 3, Jaden Johnson. Batting second and playing first base, number 11, Grayson Chitwood. Batting third and playing shortstop, number 34, Clayton Michael. Batting fourth and playing catcher, number 18, Nick Funk. Batting fifth and playing a designated hitter, number 8, Tyson Massaner. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 9, Sean Baxter. Batting seventh and playing third base, number 43, Tristan Barcroft. Batting eighth and playing second base, number 10, Dylan Sereno. Batting ninth and playing left fielder, number 2, Justin Brady. And on the mound for the Panthers, number 33, Reggie Taylor. The Panthers are coached and playing designated hitters, number 28, Marcelino Leonardo. Batting sixth and playing first base, number 21, Jackson Massey. Batting seventh and playing left field, number 34, Benji Holsey. Batting eighth and playing catcher, number 12, St. John Johnson. Batting ninth and playing shortstop, number 25, Stockton Hall. And on the mound for the Southern Virginia Knights, number 9, Colby Hoffman. The Knights are coached by Jerry Schlegelmuth and assisted by David Smith and Tom Bennett. Now if you will all please rise and remove your caps and face the flag for the playing of our nation's national anthem. Thank you. Let's play ball!
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's broadcasting for another presentation of NCAA Division III athletics. Today being a baseball matchup between the Panthers of Ferrum College and your Southern Virginia University Knights. I'm Dawson Weeder, joined by Mark Duffin for the Knights' second home outing of the season. This past week, they faced off against Penn State Mont Alto, and it did not go smoothly for the Knights in their first home contest, losing both games in that doubleheader. But today, possibly able to atone for the past 5 games, and this 5-game losing streak for Southern Virginia actually started against this Panthers team from Ferrum College. So, Mark, welcome to the broadcast. Good to have you here, Ben.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be here. I love baseball. It's an awesome sport. But the key for the Knights in this game, especially, is just needing to play with focus.
Absolutely.
When you're on a 5-game losing streak and you have an opportunity against an equally losing streak, the Ferrum College is also on a 3-game losing streak. You have an opportunity to get yourself out of that losing streak. You need to play with focus. You need to make sure you get back in that win column, and that allows you to build for the future.
Absolutely. And the main thing we talked about, Mark, before this game is consistency with Southern Virginia against Penn State Mont Alto. One of the main things that they struggled with is getting a couple of hits together in order to really set themselves up to get some runs on the board. They had a couple of innings where they got some base hits, some doubles. But other than that, it was just really hit or miss for the Knights of Southern Virginia. And like you said, Ferrum College, not in a great spot right now either, on a 3-game losing streak. They've really struggled the past couple of games. But as history has shown between these two programs, Ferrum College has had a better time
Panthers, number 3, Jaden Johnson.
playing on teams. They've had 10 wins versus 4 losses against Southern Virginia. So we'll see if the Knights are able to come back here and set something up. And right off the bat, no pun intended, things not starting right for Southern Virginia. With pitcher number 9, Kobe Hoffman, taking the batter
Batting
for
number
Ferrum
11,
College. Of course,
Grayson
that was
Chitwood.
Jaden Johnson, way to first.
And that's obviously a worst-case scenario on your first pitch that you'd want is an immediate person on first base without even having to test your defense.
Of course, with that, though, is the mentality of, okay, the worst has already happened, so let's buckle down, and just like that, throws it right down the middle for a strike, making an 0-1 count. Here's Grayson Chitwood at the bat for the Panthers. That one's a little outside. Make it a 1-1 count. Now, we talk about the Knights' last outing against the Panthers of Ferrum College. It was really the 3rd inning that did the Knights in, where the Panthers were able to get 4 runs and get a couple other things going, as that's a foul ball as well. And they got 2 other runs in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. And that's able to get the 8-5 victory over the Knights of Southern Virginia back on February 20th of this year.
Yeah, when you score 5 runs in the game, that needs to be the game that you win. Like 5 runs, that should be your goal right there. So you can't be letting their offense just run all over you and get those 8 runs again.
Absolutely, and a fantastic play off the hit. And due to technical difficulties, we'll take a 30-second break. We'll be right back here on Knights Broadcasting. Through. We appreciate your patience, but the Knights able to get it done defensively, able to get back to the dugout and get to the plate.
Yeah, we saw some great throws the second there that set up the double play, and then the third out. It was just a solid defensive stand that you want to see for the rest of the game.
Absolutely. Again, the Knights were able to get a couple of those defensive innings together in their last home outing against Penn State Mont Alto. But again, we talked about that consistency, continuing to make plays on the infield, have consistent pitching. But now we'll get to see what Ferrum College has prepared for the Knights defensively. And starting things off at bat for Southern Virginia is number 10, Will Parker. Will Parker, who is a senior from Simi Valley, California. And during this quick break, I want to remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below some things you'd like to see improved or some things you like from Knights Broadcasting. Also, be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. We thank you so much for your support of Knights Broadcasting. Now, pitching for Ferrum College is number 32, Trenton Sawyer. Sawyer is the freshman from Vinton, Virginia.
Now batting for the Knights, number 10, Will Parker.
Will Parker will hope to get things started for Southern Virginia. Here's the first pitch from Sayers. First pitch is a ball, make it a 1-0 count. That'll be a strike, make it a 1-1 count. Head towards second base, easy out there for the Panthers. So just like that, Parker got his bat on the ball, but not able to get a ton of power behind it. Makes it an easy play for number 10, Dylan Sereno, the sophomore from Elliston, Virginia. Now up to bat for the Knights is number 2, Nate McCollum. McCollum got to pitch a little bit in the Knights' last home game. That's a foul ball, make it a 0-1 count. Right down the middle. That is a strike thrown by Sayers. That one a little to the outside. I'll make it a 1-2 count. That one also a little to the outside. Evens the count up at 2 apiece. Hit up into right field. This will be a base hit. He might turn the corner and go for 2. He'll stay at first. Solid contact there from Nate McCollum.
That's exactly what you want for your first hit of the day. It's not a grand home run or anything like that, but a nice, easy base hit gets you a runner on first. You don't need anything big. You need that consistency. So that's a great way to start off right there.
Absolutely. Now with number 43, Nick Danes, up to bat, the junior from South Jordan, Utah. Again, like we mentioned, runner on first now puts you in a good position here. Trying to check him off at first base. Able to get back in time. Just want to keep him honest. That one a little bit low from Sayers. That'll make it a 1-0 count. Sayers taking his time. That's popped up. That'll be a foul ball. Saw outfielder number 43, Kristen Barcroft, acting as if he was going to jump out and grab it, but that was well out of the ballpark. Gotta love the effort, though.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to go for those every time. You never know when you can just get it on the tip of your glove.
Absolutely. So now that makes it a 1-1 count after the foul ball. Again with Parker on first. He'll be well outside.
And what's interesting about that is that, like, those are the types of plays that swing baseball games. Like, it's not
Yep.
the diving catches in outfield. It's the plays where the batter never had a chance to go anywhere, and you still managed to take an out from them. So those are the plays that you don't really talk about with baseball that are really important.
Absolutely. The effort plays that can make a huge difference in a game they don't necessarily think about a lot of the time. Now with that ball, it's a 3-1 count. Could very well see Nick Danes walking his way to first if all things bode well for him. And so he's going to swing at it. Out into left field. Brought down that time by number 2, Justin Brady, the senior from Gibbonsville, North Carolina. So now 2 outs.
Now at the plate, number 20, Mitch Smith.
Now up to bat for Southern Virginia is number 20, Mitch Smith. Mitch Smith, the sophomore from Layton, Utah, standing at 6'2". Foul ball there. You love the aggressiveness we're seeing from the Southern Virginia batters.
Absolutely. I think that makes 3 out of the first 4 batters have swung on the first pitch. It's definitely a strategy to try and get out ahead, get on that first pitch to get people on base.
Absolutely. Just get yourself on the board. You know, get a couple runs in as early as you can, because a lot of times in this losing streak for Southern Virginia, they've had to play from behind. And they're going to have number 10, Will Parker, safe as he steals second. Got it by the skin of his teeth.
It's an aggressive call to go for that stolen base, especially on 2 outs instead of the opportunity on the first out.
Absolutely. Again, I have to imagine that this past week, you know, head coach Jerry Schlegelmilch was preaching contained aggression as far as your approach to these games. Again, you want to get to the point where you're, like you mentioned before, Mark, getting back in the win column, making the plays that you need to, and you have to be aggressive in order to do that and get into that mentality. Make sure to go after opportunities when they present themselves.
Absolutely.
Count is now 2-1. And that is fouled out. Now a 2-2 count for Mitch Smith. And swinging at it again, pops it up into close into right field and brought down by number 11, Grayson Chitwood, the senior from Rocky Mount, Virginia. So that's 3 outs, and the Knights come away with no runs. Score still stands 0-0. But again, you like to see what the Knights were able to accomplish in that first inning. You love to see the fact they're swinging at the ball, they're stealing bases, they're trying to do what they can to give themselves as many chances as possible to get some runs on the board. And that's, again, something they sort of lacked against Penn State Mont Alta this past week.
Absolutely. And what's interesting to me is that it doesn't feel like desperation. Like,
right.
You're on a 5-game losing streak. It's often very easy to just desperately be trying to get, like, swinging home runs, stealing bases whenever you can. But it seems to be very strategic in how they're doing it. Like, the consistency in every batter going for the first pitch, and then the stolen base on the second out. When you had the opportunity on the first out, it's very specific in how it's being done. So it's that line between aggression and desperation that they're staying well on the side of aggression on.
Absolutely, and you also, again, I mentioned them swinging at the pitches that are given to them. Right now, they're getting a little bit too far underneath the ball and shooting up right into the air, making it easy outs. One time caught by number 2, Justin Brady, and number 11, Grayson Chitwood. Again, easy plays to make when you're in the outfield. And so basically you got to get more behind the ball, get some more power into it, And so now, up to bat for Ferrum College is number 18, Nick Funk, senior from Monetta, Virginia. That's just too far inside. Make it a 2-0 count. Swinging at it, corralled by the shortstop, or third base, excuse me. Able to get to first for the out. Great field play there from Will Parker. So again, in the sport of baseball, you don't necessarily need your pitchers to pitch a no-hitter. You just need to have your infielders play to their best of their ability, make sure that to field as well as they can, make the plays they need to on the infield so that things don't get away from them. And that's exactly what the Knights did that time.
Absolutely, and it's really as a pitcher, you just need to make them uncomfortable. Hit the ground balls, the easy pop-ups. No solid base hits right into the middle of the grass. You definitely don't need to be. You don't need to be the best pitcher in the world. You just need to make them uncomfortable, and that's absolutely what's being done right here.
And that one's fouled out. Make it a 1-2 count. So again, top of the second, score remains 0-0. Once again, corralled by Parker. Basically the exact same play we saw moments ago. So again, continued impressive infield work.
Well, and that's the mark of the good pitching that we were
Right.
just discussing. That the fact that the same exact hit happened twice in a row, that typically lends to what the pitcher is doing as opposed to anything else.
Absolutely, and now up to bat for the Panthers is number 8, Tyson Miasimer. It's now a 1-1 count. 2 outs. A little to the outside. That time for Hoffman. Just a little low and to the outside. Even makes it a 3-1 count. Another foul ball. Makes it a full count. As the first walk of the day, besides when Hoffman had hit the batter on the first pitch of the game. Since then, he's been at least pretty consistent. So now you have Sean Baxter, who was batting last, who was on first. Now up to bat is Christian Barcroft. A little to the outside for Hoffman. That one's a high strike. Make it a 1-1 count. And getting to second base is indeed Sean Baxter, able to steal second. Now it makes it a 1-2 count. Now it's fouled left side once again. And kind of to your point earlier, Mark, how if batters are hitting in the same spot over and over and over again, it goes to what the pitcher is doing to confuse them, to make sure maybe they're throwing a little delayed speed so that they're swinging at it a little earlier than they should. And a strikeout there gives 3 outs. Now we'll go to the bottom of the second.
Yeah, so that defensive possession was really just great pitch work. there. We had the 2 ground balls straight to third, easy throws to first, and then you had the strikeout. So definitely the consistency in where the batters are hitting the ground balls, the foul balls on the third base line. It just goes to show how consistent the pitching's been. He's definitely playing it safe, as shown by the walk, because he's trying to do it more outside. That's how he's getting people to go to the third base line. But with that safety, we're 2 outs down, and they haven't gotten a hit yet.
Absolutely, and now the score stands 0-0 at the bottom of the second. Want to give a brief shout out to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats, here in Buena Vista, Virginia. If you're passing through the BV area, or if you're visiting a student athlete or visiting the campus, or just visiting the beautiful mountains that we have here in the area, be sure to go check out Straws Drinks and Eats. Great drinks, great treats, and great times. Thanks so much for supporting Southern Virginia Athletics. Straws Drinks and Eats. Excuse me, if I can even speak today. It's been a long day, but we appreciate you all tuning in and listening to us today. So now it falls on Ferrum College to once again have a good defensive stand. They did pretty well last time. The Knights were able to get a base hit, able to get a runner to advance to second in number 10, Will Parker. So now they got to make sure to shut that down, whereas if you're the Knights, you're feeling pretty good about who you have up to bat for you right now. Number 28, Marcelino Leonardo. Leonardo has a fantastic batting ability. I mean, he's been able to get a lot of base hits, a lot of doubles, hit a couple of home runs as well, has a lot of power behind his bat. So a very great addition to the Southern Virginia roster this year.
Absolutely, and with his ability, like, you got 1 hit in the first inning, you want to get 2 in the second inning, so that way you can just keep building on that start. So his batting ability is going to be key here to keep that momentum going for SVU.
Here's the first pitch. It'll be a foul ball down the left side, but again, you bear witness to that power that he has behind that bat. If you're not careful, he can knock it clear out of here.
Yeah, a leaning hit off balance and still went straight into the middle of the outfield. So, yeah.
Now a 0-1 count. That one a little high. Evens it up at 1. That one a little high. Make it 2-1. And along with his great hitting power, he's also got great patience, got great baseball IQ. He knows when to chase for it. He knows when not to.
Yeah, because that's often the Achilles heel of power batters is their strikeouts and their willingness to swing at anything. It leads to a lot of strikeouts. Even if you're hitting tons of home runs and getting into the outfield, you're countering it with just as many outs.
And Sayers is able to sneak it into the bottom left corner of the strike zone that time. Leonardo swings at that one, another foul ball, this time off the right side. So now the count stands 2-2. Gets hit on the back of the helmet. He'll advance to first.
And I don't think I need to tell you how much courage it takes to just stand there and take that, especially when it's flying towards your head and trusting your helmet. Like that is commitment for your team just to get on base right there.
Oh, absolutely. Again, just to simply turn your head and say, "Yep, this is going to hit me right in the noggin," and you're more than fine with it. So now you got a runner on first in Leonardo. Now up to bat for the Knights is number 21, Jackson Massey. So runner on first, 0 outs. That one a little bit low from Sayers. Keeping Leonardo honest at first.
And that's an underrated tool of pitchers, throwing to first, even if you don't think you're actually going to get him, because that almost never happens. Right. It's an underrated tool to control the pace of the game and make sure that you're keeping momentum as the pitcher.
And now advancing to first as well is Jackson Massey. So now you have a runner on first and second, 0 outs. Now you have Benji Horsley up to bat. So again, if you're the Knights, you couldn't be happier with the scenario you have. 0 outs, 2 runners on base, 1 on first, 1 on second. A little bit of violation here, so now they'll advance both runners to now second and third. So the perfect scenario just keeps getting better for the Knights. Pitch a little to the inside for Sayers. So now it's the first time that either team has really been in striking distance. Now towards the right side. So a run scored by Leonardo. That's 2 runs scored for Southern Virginia. Make that a double for Horsley.
And that's exactly what you wanted. A base hit to the opposite direction as the base runners, and you get 2 in easy right there.
And 2 RBIs for Horsley. Fantastic work at the plate. And well placed too, getting to the right side of the field just past the first baseman. Just towing that foul ball line and, again, able to get 2 runs in. That's exactly how you want to start this game. So now up to bat for Southern Virginia is number 12, Sinjun Johnson, the sophomore from Holiday, Utah. That one low to the outside. So now you got a runner on second in Horsley. Again, I go back to the thing we were talking about was one of the keys of the game was consistency. So far, the Knights have done a pretty consistent job at getting the bat on the ball, getting some runners on base. And again, with 2 runs, they still have 0 outs.
Yeah, you got, for your 2 hits, you have your 2 runs, and that's the consistency you want.
That one also low from Sayers. See Johnson at the plate, attempting a bunt both times. That one right down the middle from Sayers. Make it a 2-1 count. Now a little to the outside, makes it 3-1. You know, and there's an underappreciated psychological game when it comes to a batter attempting a bunt. It really, if you're not focusing on the pitcher, can get really thrown off. Trying to check off Horsley at second.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because it's essentially illegal crowding the plate. Like you
Right.
are allowed to just hunch over the plate, and it makes yourself seem bigger over the plate, which is much harder for a pitcher to look at and get a good pitch in.
And it makes the strike zone look that much smaller. So Johnson will walk to first now. Once again, similar scenario to just a few moments ago. Southern Virginia has runners on first and second. Now you have Stockton Hall up to bat. So you're getting to the bottom of your batter lineup, and Stockton Hall, again, has proven time and again he's very capable of hitting exactly where he needs to. Now a little to the outside for Sayers. Hall this year with a batting average of .400. That one right down the middle for Sayers. That one a little low, make it a 2-1 count. Trying to catch Horsley at second once again. And again, like you said, Mark, just trying to control the pace. Something's kind of gotten away from you in this inning. You've allowed 2 runs scored. You want to take back control.
Absolutely, but at this point, you also have the issue of been throwing a lot of balls, and so taking your eye off the batter's box and having that consistent throw could be throwing him off as well. So you have that double side of, yeah, you're controlling the pace, but you also have to play up to your standard in response to that tool you have.
Absolutely, and Stockton Hall thrown out pretty easily at first, but he allows his teammates to advance to both second and to third. So now we're back to the top of the batting lineup with number 10, Will Parker. That makes it an 0-1 count. But positive thing for Ferrum College is they finally got that first out at the bottom of the second. That one a little high.
That's the impressive thing about baseball, is that it's always about momentum. You hardly ever see points scored outside of a single out in an inning. So you always get at 0 outs, you get 5 runs, and then it's 3 outs typically. Or you get, on the second out, you get a bunch of runs, and then the final, it's almost always on a single out that runs are scored, and it goes on a big run. So that's very important for the Panthers to get that first out of the inning.
It's a big thing about overcoming mental barriers is that you finally get that first out and you realize, okay, we can get this done. That hit right down the middle of the field. There's going to be another run scored for the Knights. And possibly another. In fact, there will be a 4th run scored. Southern Virginia takes a 4-0 lead. Off 2 RBIs there from Parker. So again, we talked about the Knights needing to be consistent and needing to start fast, and they have done just that.
Yeah, their aggressiveness has paid off. They've been making the pitcher uncomfortable, and it's definitely been paying out in this inning.
There'll be a conversation here at the mound for Ferrum College. Looks like Sayers will be replaced on the mound. A new pitcher for the Panthers. It's number 46, Jordan Smith, the right-handed pitcher, the junior from Troy, North Carolina. So we'll get a couple of warm-up pitches here.
Yeah, and you never want to take out your starting pitcher this early, but when he's already at 41 pitches and we're not even halfway done with this inning, it's you gotta focus in and put in a new pitcher so that way you can build back that momentum.
Right, absolutely. And sometimes what it takes to take back momentum or just basically take back an inning is just a little bit of change. Change can help kickstart things and kind of reset your mindset and just make your approach just a little bit different. So Ferrum College obviously looking to do that with this change at the mount. And during this quick break, I want to remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. What are some things we're doing right? What are some things you guys would like to see improved in the future on Knights Broadcasting? Also, be sure to give us or click that notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. So last time these two teams faced off, again, it was February 20th, earlier this past month. Today being the 1st of March, so I still consider it this month. The Knights scored 1 run in the first inning, 1 in the third, and then didn't score again until the 7th inning, and then 2 in the 9th. So again, they slowly got the scoring going, but again, bottom of the second, you score 4 runs in this inning alone. Again, it bodes well for you, again, if you maintain consistency. Now, the one thing you don't want to have happen is this be the highlight of your day, and then Ferrum College gets momentum later on and builds on that and builds on that to the point where now all of a sudden your earlier run of 4 runs doesn't matter anymore.
Absolutely. 5 innings of 1 run is better than 1 inning of 4 runs unless you keep going and keep putting points on the board. So this absolutely, it's we still have 7 innings to go after this, so definitely SVU needs to not just sit on their laurels and keep the pressure on and keep the adrenaline going.
Absolutely. So the Knights have a runner on first. This is Nate McCollum at bat. That's me a foul ball. Make that a 0-1 count. A little to the inside. That time by Smith. That's popped right up. That'll be a foul ball. Make that a 1-2 count. Perfect scenario here for Jordan Smith is to get this quick strikeout. We only have 1 out left to go to, again, get yourself going defensively again.
Absolutely, because the chances of SVU doing anything after that would be tremendously low.
Parker able to get back to first base. Look for the double play. They will not get it. As McCollum makes his way to first. That would have ended the inning. But instead they just get Will Parker out at second.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty much worst case scenario for both teams, is that you do get that second out, so that's really bad for SVU. But when you have the opportunity to just end the inning and get back up to bat and you miss it, that's kind of worst scenario for both teams right there.
Absolutely. So now that's 2 outs for Southern Virginia. Runner on first, and Nate McCollum with Nick Daines at bat. That one's an inside strike. Nick Daines, the 6'3" junior from South Jordan, Utah. And you know, when you're a taller batter, that tends to make the strike zone a little bit bigger. Makes things a little bit more difficult for you. That's a foul ball there for Daines.
Yeah, but it also gives you a larger swing. So there's a reason the strike box, the strike zone is bigger, is because you have the opportunity to swing at a greater area. So there are pros and cons to being a tall batter.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you want to go to the extreme example, I believe Aaron Judge is like 6.5 feet tall. So, and he's the current leader in the home runs in the MLB. So obviously,
that works for you. That pops it up into center field. Got a couple pursuers, eventually caught by number 3, Jaden Johnson, the junior from Houston, Texas. And so after 4 runs given up in this inning, the Panthers able to stop the bleeding and get back at bat. So again, you had some struggles there if you're the Panthers. You're able to, you let up a couple of runs. For the Knights, you're wanting to build on this and build on this. Again, like I mentioned before, you don't want this to be the highlight of the game. You want to keep building and extending your lead and keep working well defensively. But if you're Ferrum College, you're facing an uphill battle now.
Absolutely, because you have a team with momentum and a defense that's been performing well. And what you were saying about the highlight of the game, you definitely, any baseball team wants their pitching and their defense to be the highlight of the game.
Absolutely.
You never want a single inning or a single moment to be the highlight. You want a consistent effort from your pitching and from your infielders especially, but your defense as a whole to be the highlight of the game.
Absolutely.
And so that's the key for SVU, is to keep that on, is that you're up 4. That doesn't mean you get sloppy with your pitches or your throws. You keep going the way you've been doing.
Absolutely. It's like any sport, right? When you develop some momentum, you keep maintaining the fundamentals. You keep working at those. You keep building on that momentum, keep building and building and building. You don't ever let up, because that's how comebacks happen, and coaches are not happy when that occurs. In fact, no one's happy when your team lets up a comeback. That's just never a good thing for anybody. And so with that, we'll take this short break to thank our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. If you're in the BV area, be sure to go check them out. Great drinks, great treats, and great times. Thank you so much, Straws Drinks and Eats, for supporting Southern Virginia athletics.
And it's interesting is that since the last time I've been on the broadcast is that I've gone to Straws a couple of times, and they're definitely, like, you'd think of So Delicious and other brands like that, but they are much cheaper and just as good. So we're really proud to have Straws as our partner for the athletics.
Absolutely. Big fans here on Knights Broadcasting, that's for sure. So now the Panthers will have a chance to respond. That first pitch is a ball. Foul ball that time evens it up at 1 apiece. Right now batting for the Panthers is number 10, Dylan Sereno. You have Justin Brady on deck. Swing and a miss there for Sereno. Dylan Sereno, the sophomore from Elliston, Virginia. And a strikeout to start the top of the third. So again, like you said, Mark, not letting your guard down, making sure that you keep working at the things that have been working for you so far in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that goes to show of Hoffman, or is it Lloyd? Lloyd on the mound. We have Lloyd on the mound. It goes to show that he's taking that momentum and running with it, because there's obviously the line of you don't want to be too aggressive and start throwing errant pitches, but you also want to take that momentum and start really putting in the dagger. So going for the strikeout as opposed to the casual, very precise pitching of the first 2 innings of causing it to go to the third base line every time. So it's that difference between having momentum and gaining momentum.
Absolutely. That was an easy catch in the outfield for Nate McCollum. We did fail to mention that they replaced number 9, Colby Hoffman, on the mound with number 34, as you mentioned, Mark, Seth Lloyd, the freshman from Evanston, Wyoming. So just like that, 2 quick outs for the Panthers. That one a little high from Lloyd. Right down the middle, makes it a 1-1 count. Little hesitation swing there, might get him to first, but it will not. 3 quick outs, and Southern Virginia goes back to the dugout. So again, you have the great inning of getting 4 runs on the board, and then right after that, you respond defensively as well.
3 up, 3 down.
3 up, 3 down. This is looking to be a good day for the Knights.
Yeah, and that was a very good play by the second baseman right there, because those hits right there, right, and the dings into the infield can be some of the most dangerous plays, because that's not only when obviously there's a lot of time to run to first base because the ball's moving slowly, right, but additionally that's when mistakes happen, because those are rare. Mm-hmm. Those little hits into the infield. So that's when mistakes happen on your defensive end. So staying with it, getting it to first right before the runner got to first, that's what you want to see from those awkward situations.
Right, absolutely. A lot of times you see in games like this where you have a short hit inside the infield, and again, like you said, it's not practiced as much. It doesn't occur as regularly as just regular hits towards the outfield or towards the second baseman or shortstop.
Or even regular ground balls.
Right, absolutely. And so it makes it where you're rushing things. He could have easily overthrown or underthrown to the first baseman, not put enough power into it, not gotten the ball there in time. But like you said, again, keeping your composure, executing when you need to get that third out. So staying on the mound for the Panthers is number 46, Jordan Smith. He came in place of Sayers, Trenton Sayers, in the last inning. He was able to finish off the bottom of the second. We'll see what he can do here with a full inning to himself. Up to bat for Southern Virginia, number 20, Mitch Smith, the sophomore from Layton, Utah. Went to Clearfield High School. Foul ball there. Again, keeping up that aggressive mentality. If it's in the general area where you want it, they're swinging away. Makes it an 0-1 count. That one just a little high. That one right on the money for Smith.
And it's very interesting watching pitchers because their game is a game of centimeters. They're very, very small boxes they have to throw it into. And so it's cool to see those adjustments of he threw it high, that one, and then got immediately an adjustment to go down the middle.
Left field now. And catching at the last second, that time was number 34, Clayton Michael. Looked like it was a last second adjustment because we saw the outfielder here attempting to go get it. But that seemed like at the last second, Clayton Michael was asked to get it, reached out, snagged it. Quick first out for the Panthers.
And while you're glad to get an out as a coach, you never like to see that. You like to see getting under it, making sure that you're not leaving a chance for an error and an easy base hit for the opposing team there.
So now up to bat for the Knights is Marcelino Leonardo. He got things started for the Knights in the last inning. A foul ball out of the right side. He was one of the 4 runs that was batted in. Looked like a hit off of Leonardo's shoe, I think. So foul ball there. Makes it an 0-2 count. Another foul ball. And we talked about Southern Virginia maintaining consistency when they have chances to get runs on the board, because a lot of times in comebacks in any sport, what you'll see is that you'll see an offensive burst from one team, and the other team's defense does just enough to keep them in the game to where when their offense gets things going, all of a sudden, it's a ball game again. Another foul ball from Leonardo.
Yeah, absolutely, and you don't see that more than in baseball, because baseball is the sport where you have the opportunity to come back at any point. Even if you're down 10, even down 15, you have the opportunity to come back because you have as much time as you need to get back in.
Another foul ball for Leonardo, so he's staying in there fighting. You know, perfect example of that, Mark. I bring up this example a lot, but there was one time I went to the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska, and the bottom of the 9th, I think it was the Clemson Tigers, came back from 8-1, ended up winning the game 9-8. So again, like you said, it's any given inning.
Yep, it ain't over till it's over.
That makes it ball 1, makes it a 1-2 count. Easy. Oh, little error there. 2 errors that time, both on the fielding effort as well as the throw to number 11, Grayson Chitwood, not able to handle that throw. So Leonardo had every right to be out after that hit, but instead he's now on first.
Yeah, and that's absolute worst case scenario. Your pitcher gets you an easy ground ball to get you to first, and not only one but two errors resulting in an out. Because it was a good recovery by the shortstop, even not being able to handle the original bounce, got it to first in enough time. But it's you just can't let those errors compound on you.
That's one of those plays that'll make coaches' hairs gray before they're the age of 50 for sure. There's a foul ball out the left side. Makes it 0-1 count. Another foul ball.
Right onto the roof of the clubhouse.
Again, I'm sure some teams keep track of that, able to hit opposing cars or just buildings in the area. I mean, straight to the shortstop.
And that is a great redemption right there if you're the shortstop right there, getting that quick double play purely on your play.
Absolutely. Clayton Michael able to reach out and grab that line drive end the inning rather quickly and make it to where the Knights can't add to their 4-0 lead. And so again, for Southern Virginia, you wanted to maintain consistency offensively, and that time weren't able to do so. You got lucky, let's be honest, there with Leonardo's single.
Absolutely.
He was able to reach first in spite, because of the two errors on part of Ferrum College. Everything else, again, Ferrum College was able to play fantastic defense, but now we'll see number 34, Seth Lloyd, at the mound once again for Southern Virginia. And want to once again remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, let us know how we're doing, and be sure to hit the notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. So now we're at the top of the fourth inning here. And I tell you, we couldn't ask for a better weather day here in Buena Vista, Virginia, compared to last week's first home game for the Knights, where it was cold, it was rainy, everyone was miserable, including the players on the field. Now they're here today, the sun is shining, hardly a cloud in the sky. They're loving life right now, and to add on to that, they have a 4-run lead.
Absolutely. And an underrated aspect of baseball weather is that nice cool wind, not blowing hurricane-level wind, but just the nice breeze blowing through with the sun shining.
Absolutely. I love it here in beautiful Buena Vista, Virginia. He's got to love the mountains on the horizon as well. He had that first strike. Hit up to center field. That'll be a double. That time for number 11, Grayson Chitwood. So great start for the Panthers right now. Now up to bat is number 34, Clayton Michael. Again, Clayton Michael, the shortstop, just made that fantastic play to get them back into the dugout.
And now he has a runner in scoring position, so he absolutely has the opportunity to take over this game and give the Panthers the momentum they need.
That one a little high from Lloyd. There's a nice bunt. Able to get him out at first. But of course you have number 11, Grayson Chitwood, advanced to third. So great work there from Clayton Michael. He did get out at first, but again, the bunt allows his teammate to advance.
Because now all you need is a sac fly and you get on the board, and you are right back in this ball game with momentum.
Now up to bat is number 18, Nick Funk. A lot of power behind that one from Lloyd.
Because that's the underrated aspect of scoring in baseball. We we think of home runs as like the major thing you want to go for, but true baseball teams, they get that runner on second, they get him to third with an out, and they get him to home with the fourth out, and they do that 9 times, and you're at 9 runs, and you're a great scoring team.
Absolutely. It's one of those things you don't tend to think about if you're not a consistent viewer of baseball. It's the small little things. There's a lot more strategy involved rather than just how hard can I hit this ball. And saving it from a home run is number 44, Benjamin Horsley. If it wasn't going to be a home run, it was going to be very, very close. But now the Panthers able to get a run on the board.
And that is best case scenario of what you can control in baseball, is that the Panthers have played a really good inning both defensively and offensively these past 2 possessions. Is possession the right word to use for baseball? I feel like I'm justified in using that word.
That pitch from Lloyd is a strike. Make it 0-1 count. But again, for the Knights, you allowed a run, which that's fine. Just 1 run is fine. You have 2 outs. Nice, get a quick third. Pitch a little high from Lloyd. And if you just limit it to 1 run, again, you can get back at bat, make some things work for you once again. That pitch a little low from Lloyd. Count is now 2-1. That one to the outside. Make it 3-1. That'll be a walk. So now the Panthers will have a runner on first. Now to bat for the Panthers is number 9, Sean Baxter. Low into the outside. Makes it a 1-0 count. This should be an easy third out, and indeed it will be for Southern Virginia. Great fielding from number 20, Mitch Smith, able to get it to first and get the Knights back in the dugout.
Absolutely. And while that's not the worst case scenario if you're the Knights, that still gives you reason to pause if you're looking forward in this game of like, okay, like they have opened up their scoring. That is always a danger when you're talking in baseball.
Absolutely. Again, it just makes you think to yourself, okay, we can't just rely on that one good inning. We have to keep working, get people on base, hit some batters in. You know, just got to continue to do the work they need to when you have your offensive opportunities. So, score stands now 4-1 at the bottom of the 4th. Knights have a chance to respond to the 1 run given up in the previous inning. You would hope to see Southern Virginia get back to the aggressive hitting that they were doing in the first couple of innings, setting themselves up in beautiful situations, getting a couple runners on second and on third. Again, in that the first 2 runs they scored, they did get a little bit of help from a violation by Ferrum College.
Yeah, I actually think they need to be a little bit less aggressive because from what I saw is that they were trying so hard to capitalize on the momentum that they were swinging at everyone.
Right.
Like for example, Leonardo, the 5th batter, the designated hitter for SVU, I believe he swung at every pitch. I think he had 3 or 4 foul balls, which obviously is preferred to just a strike on being struck out looking, but. You need to pick and choose your spots, which is what they were doing very well in the first two innings. Is that they were swinging on every first pitch, being very aggressive, but also picking and choosing when to swing. So I think they need to focus in and stop trying to go for the home run. Stop trying to go up by 10 innings and just be the consistent, like the Panthers just their inning with their one run. Like, that's what you need to be doing if you're SVU, is just consistently getting that one run through bunts and sac flies.
Again, it's kind of like what we said before, the controlled aggression rather than just swinging for everything like you said. You got to control that and be smart. Now to bat for the Knights is number 44, Benji Horsley. That one a little to the inside, makes it a 1-1 count. That one also a little to the outside, make it 2-1. And the Panthers still have number 46, Jordan Smith, on the mound. He's done a solid job since taking over. Horsley hits that up right into the air. Able to bring it down as number 3, Jaden Johnson, the junior from Houston, Texas. So a quick out. Now up to bat for Southern Virginia is Sinjun Johnson with Stockton Hall on deck. And right away in an 0-1 count. That one a little high. And it really has felt a little bit more like a different game since Smith came onto the mound for the Panthers, because the Knights are doing a fantastic job, you know, against Sayers earlier in the first couple of innings. And just, again, Trenton Sayers just getting a lot of good hits, advancing runners. Maybe a foul ball there for Johnson.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how the momentum has definitely shifted ever since the pitcher change, because it definitely has. SVU no longer feels comfortable in the batter's box. There have been lots of easy ground balls, long pot flies, none of the consistent right to the grass hits they had been doing in the first two.
Now a little to the outside, makes it a 2-2 count. See Johnson kind of swinging at that one, even though it was a little inside. Had to take a little step back to do so. Stays at a 2-2 count. That'll be a strikeout. So 2 quick outs. 2 up, 2 down. Panthers look to continue that against Stockton Hall. The Knights haven't gotten anyone on base. Haven't gotten a base hit yet, and it's already 2 outs. A little low from Smith. Should be an easy play here at first, and it will be. So 3 up, 3 down. The Panthers continue to press defensively since giving up those 4 runs.
Absolutely. And you got to give a lot of credit to number 46, their pitcher Smith. He's been pitching very well, making SVU very uncomfortable. And the mark of great pitching is pitches per inning pitched. Because you had Sayers, who pitched 1.1 innings and had 41 pitches, and Smith is up to 26 in his two innings pitched, over 2 innings pitched. So that's definitely the mark of how good he's been doing in making SVU uncomfortable. And then obviously the infield and outfield finishing off the pop flies and the ground balls. So yeah, very, very good effort overall by the Panthers defense.
Absolutely, had some outfield work there from number 3, Jaden Johnson, as well as at second base for number 10, Dylan Sereno. So again, like you said, Mark, just doing what they needed to do. Smith making them uncomfortable, and then in the infield, getting the job done when the Knights have put the bat on the ball. So now if you're Southern Virginia, you're trying to think to yourself, how can we rebound from this? Again, you still have a 3-run lead, so you're still mildly safe. Again, any given inning, anything can happen. But if you play your cards right, you're still mildly safe. But offensively, you got to figure something out. Because if you keep letting up 1 run every inning and a half or so, eventually it's going to come back to bite you.
Exactly.
So you got to get something going. Got to get to where you're switching things up. Maybe you make a change to your batter's lineup or something like that. Who knows what they have to do in order to get back with the momentum offensively.
Well, when playing with the lead, you often don't want to change what you've already been doing well.
Right.
But my personal philosophy is that you try, as a coach, you try and convince your team, like, you got to view this as if you're down by a run or 2.
Right.
Because that's when you're playing with urgency but not desperation. Because if you're down 2 in baseball, that's not much. But if you're playing with the urgency of, okay, we are down, but we're only down by 1 or 2, even if you're up by 3, like, you're playing with that mindset, you'll be successful.
Right. If you're always playing like you're losing, you'll win more often than not.
Absolutely.
That's the philosophy of a lot of coaches out there. That was a foul ball there from Christian Barcroft. Getting into left field, that'll be a single, maybe a double. He rounds the corner, tempts the idea, but will stay at first. So again, a little role reversal here over the past couple of innings. Ferrum College getting the bat on the ball, able to get runners on base early on without any outs. And it was hit just outside the reach of number 25, Stockton Hall. A little low to the outside for Lloyd. Makes it a 1-0 count. That makes it a 1-1 count. That's popped up. Should be an easy play. Indeed it is for number 20, Mitch Smith. So if you're the Knights, that gives you a little sigh of relief. You get that 1 out. You still have a runner to worry about on first. But now you know that you have some cushion on your side.
Absolutely. And it keeps that strategy of getting that bunt to third and the sac fly to home. That knocks that strategy out. Unless you get a good base hit here that sends someone to third, you're going to – the good control is now in SVU's defense's hands.
Absolutely. That first pitch was a little high. Make it a 1-0 count. Making it back to first is Barcroft. Trying to steal second. He does get there. With the error, he'll advance to third.
And that is the worst case scenario you were hoping to avoid if you were SVU, because now all of a sudden that sac fly is very much in play.
And the Knights had the opportunity to get that play at second base. And just the throw was a little bit low and it made it more difficult to handle on part of number 25, Stockton Hall. This popped up into right field. Easy catch there for Nate McCollum. But it'll get a runner in for the Panthers. Make it 2 runs to 4. So again, Ferrum College chipping away at this lead of Southern Virginia.
Very methodical, very, very composed in the way they're running their offense.
And the error in the infield allows the single.
And that was a quality bunt. It's very difficult to bunt well especially at this level when pitchers are throwing so fast. That was a brilliant bunt to exactly where you want it if you're going for it.
And Lloyd was unable to bring it up cleanly to make the play at first base. Trying to steal second. And they'll get him at second. That gets the third out as number 3, Jaden Johnson, was trying to advance to second base, but nothing doing. So the score stands 2-4, still in favor of Southern Virginia, but as we've said multiple times already, at this point, if you're the Knights, you got to get something going offensively. You can't allow this slowly creeping into your lead to continue without some sort of response at bat.
Absolutely, and especially with the way the Panthers are going with the aggression, like that, going for that stolen base on 2 outs. With the aggression that the Panthers are playing with, you definitely have to be worried if you're the Knights.
You absolutely do, and you still have number 46, Jordan Smith, on the mound for the Panthers. Again, he's done a consistent job of getting the pitches where he needs them to be, make it to where his infielders can make the plays they need to, both at second and at shortstop. Again, it's just been a clinic defensively for the Panthers since he took over.
Absolutely. He's been giving his teammates everything they need to do well to succeed.
And during the short break, want to once again thank our athletic sponsors, Straw's Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. If you're passing through the area, need a nice place to hang out, go get a nice soda, or go to relax, go check out Straw's Drinks and Eats in Buena Vista, Virginia. My personal drink of choice is a Dr. Pepper with cherry, vanilla, lime, and almond cream. It's absolutely fantastic. Hits the spot every single time. But that's because I'm a Dr. Pepper man myself, so basically anything with Dr. Pepper in it will satisfy me. So thanks so much, Straw's Drinks and Eats, for supporting Southern Virginia athletics. We appreciate you.
I didn't know you were a Dr. Pepper man.
Well, I mean, I have one right here, so
oh my goodness,
there's a testament to that.
How did I miss that?
Once again, thanks so much, Straw's Drinks and Eats, for your support. So now, again, the Knights need to respond. The Knights need to get some runners on base. And right now, up to bat for the Knights is number 10, Will Parker. Swinging at the first pitch, much like we saw in the early innings from Southern Virginia. That's popped up center field. Brought down by Jaden Johnson. Love the communication out in the outfield for the Panthers.
Absolutely, because that's a quick way to get a team's momentum back, is for error on a pop fly like that. So
right.
Great communication for the center fielder coming into the ball from the left. Definitely was the right call, and it worked out for them.
Absolutely saw the communication between number 2, Justin Brady, and number 3, Jaden Johnson. That's popped up into right field, right center. It's Johnson again. He's having a good inning. So 2 up, 2 down for the Knights.
Well, and that's the interesting thing we were talking about, the contained aggression. SVU has swung at all 3 pitches so far in this inning, which has allowed Lloyd to just do whatever he wants with the pitches, sent them easy to the outfield.
Now to bat for the Knights is Nick Daines. Heads out to the outfield, gets a single, and an error might make this into a double, and it will. Great work from Nick Daines, recognizing the error in the outfield and advancing to second. So you had 2 up, 2 down, then Daines changes that pattern, puts the Knights in a good position here, now with Mitch Smith up to bat.
And if you're the Panthers defense, you definitely don't get nervous at this yet, because while yes, you do have a runner in scoring position, you have 2 outs.
Right.
So it is up to you. It is still up to you to get that third and final out.
A foul ball there for Smith. That's just to the outside. Makes it a 1-1 count. That one low to the outside. Makes it 2-1. And again, right now batting is Mitch Smith with Marcelino Leonardo on deck for the Knights. A pause and play as a ball had escaped the bullpen for the Panthers. Knocked into left field. And so it'll be a double for him and another run scored for the Knights. Fantastic power behind that hit from Mitch Smith. If it just had a little bit more, would have gone over, and the Knights would have 2 runs instead of 1 on that play. So now stands 5 runs to 2 with Leonardo up to bat.
And if this pattern holds, it seems to be that SVU is figuring out new pitchers as they come in.
Right.
Obviously, Lloyd has done a brilliant job, but SVU, with 2 great hits right back to back, it's SVU's getting the time to figure out the pitchers and get some good hits off of them.
Foul ball for Leonardo again. He's been swinging out a lot of them today.
But there's also to say about the middle of this lineup just being super effective, because this
Absolutely.
is where the four-score run came from earlier, and this is where now they're getting hits again. So this middle of the lineup has been performing very well today.
And Panthers able to handle that one. Leonardo out at first and limits the Knights to just 1 run in that inning. So again, the score now stands 5 runs to 2 in favor of the Knights. So you did get a little bit of a response for Southern Virginia, pretty much what you needed, just to make sure to keep that cushion of scoring in between you and the Panthers. Because again, the Panthers have been about 1 run here, another run there. So just getting a little something is a big win if you're the Knights.
Absolutely.
Looks like another pitcher change for Southern Virginia. This time on the mound is number 42, Jaden, or as we call him in broadcasting, Rock Giles, the junior from Mesa, Arizona. Again, he's a member of Knights Broadcasting. He's commentated several basketball and volleyball games here on Knights Broadcasting. Great member of the team, and he was able to put in some quality pitches last week against Penn State Montalto. Had a good couple of innings. And so we'll see if what they do accomplishes what the Panthers were able to do when they inserted Jordan Smith on the mound, where the Knights had to sort of adjust to him, figure out his tendencies, figure out how to hit against him. We'll see if it's the same effect on the Panthers. I want to once again thank you so much for watching this on Knights Broadcasting. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, let us know how we're doing, and hit that notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. We appreciate your support of Knights Broadcasting. And I shout out to all our producers, camera workers, all those who make this broadcast possible.
Yeah, because we're just kind of the flavor in the broadcast. Cause we wouldn't be able to do anything without everyone else putting it together. I just come here and talk. So I'm definitely appreciative of everyone who helps around here.
To put it in the terminology of Straws, Drinks, and Eats, the rest of the crew is the Dr. Pepper. We're the cherry and vanilla and the lime and all that stuff. So if that makes any sense. So now the Panthers have a chance
Shameless
to respond.
cross-promotion.
Oh, absolutely. Right down the middle for Rock Giles. A little high that time. At bat right now is number 11, Grayson Chitwood. That's hit out into right field. And McCollum able to bring it down.
And what's very interesting about the standard of being an outfielder in baseball is every time there's a pop fly, you're supposed to take a couple steps back just right off the bat. And
right.
we saw that there. He actually had to take a couple steps forward to catch it at the end, because that's what you're supposed to do, is immediately take steps back, because it's much easier to go forward than it is backward.
Absolutely. If you need to make a last-second adjustment, it's always easier to sprint forward than sprint backward. Here in center field, brought down by number 43, Nick Daines. So 2 up, 2 down.
And what's interesting is with the power that Giles is throwing with is that these pop flies are going just feet in front of the fence. It is getting close, but because he's throwing with such power and they're not making quite good enough contact, they're not going over. So you're at 2 outs as opposed to 2 home runs. It's the difference of good pitchers with speed.
Absolutely, and that first pitch a little bit low for Giles. Now at bat for the Panthers is number 18, Nick Funk. That one a little high from Giles. Makes it a 2-0 count. Swing and a miss. Make it a 2-1 count. Another low pitch from Giles. Held onto that one just a little too long. Oh, a little inside. That'll make Nick Funk walk to first. Now to bat for the Panthers is Tyson Miasimer, number 8. Miasimer, the senior from Sanford, North Carolina. Went to Chatham Central. I love seeing that. You saw that Giles walk the previous batter, and the first pitch right away is right down the middle, able to get a strike, get some of that confidence back into you, because no matter who you are as a pitcher, when you walk somebody, you have to gain some confidence back right away, or else things can go downhill for you quickly.
Absolutely. And it just speaks to great ability to make those adjustments right on the fly.
Absolutely. That pitch dropped that time just outside of the strike zone. That's popped up. And an easy catch for Will Parker. So able to get 3 quick outs on 4 batters. Brings us to the bottom of the 6th. And so again, that change-up at pitcher paying off for Southern Virginia so far.
Absolutely. Gets you quickly back into your court, so maybe you could extend that lead, do a quick possession. Again, using that word, I love it. Get a quick possession where you get another run off a solid base hit, a pop fly, and a bunt. Like those quality at bats where you just get that one run based off your own ability, as opposed to, I got a good hit to outfield and we got 2 of those in a row. Right. No, it's you get one out there and you get them around.
Hey, you mentioned using possessions. You know, when you do as many different sports as we do here as commentators, sometimes they tend to blend together. Well, we do the best that we can. But like you said, yeah, absolutely. You just got to make sure that if you're the Knights, you keep building on what worked in the last inning that you were getting back to at least. I mean, you had 2 outs before you got somebody on base, which isn't what you want, so you want to get started a little earlier in the inning. So we'll see if the Knights can do that. We have a change of a pitcher for the Panthers, number 20, Brady Owen, the senior from Chatham, Virginia. We stepping on the mound for the first time today.
No matter what you say, I think possession is still a valid use of the word in baseball.
Well, I won't argue with you there. So once again, bottom of the 6th. Score stands 5 runs to 2 in favor of the Knights of Southern Virginia. And I want to make a correction to a pronunciation we made earlier for one of the batters for Southern Virginia. It's Sinjin Johnson. Want to make sure we get as many names right as possible. We know a lot of parents watch these broadcasts, and I know they appreciate their children's names being pronounced correctly. My last name being Weidrich, I know exactly how that feels whenever an announcer says my name wrong. It's up to bat for Southern Virginia's number 21, Jackson Massey. He'll be the first batter to go up against Brady Owen today. Now and way inside. Makes it a 1-0 count. Easy first out here for the Panthers. It'll hit right to first baseman number 11, Grayson Chitwood. Now to bat for the Knights is number 44, Benji Horsley.
And so far, the pattern of new pitcher, new routines seems to be holding, of making them uncomfortable and getting easy ground balls.
Right, and a lot of things people tend to forget about baseball is that it's very much a people reading sport. You get a read on people, how to play off of them, especially when it comes to the batter-pitcher relationship. And so whenever you put in a new pitcher, again, like you said, things tend to go a little slow for a little bit as batters adjust accordingly. Looks like Horsley was hit on the foot there, so he will advance to first. Now up to bat is number 12, Sinjin Johnson. Johnson, the sophomore from Holiday, Utah, went to Cottonwood. Be a foul ball. Make it a 0-1 count. Right down the middle that time by Owen. Make it an 0-2 count. Head him into center field. So now, well, at number 44, Horsley advancing to second with Johnson at first. So now up to bat is number 25, Stockton Hall, at the bottom of the lineup. So only one out. Now you have a runner on first and second.
It's a great position you're in because, I mean, you have one out, so you do have an opportunity to advance a base with sac fly. So if you just get your runner one more base, and all of a sudden you're in a position to get that one run you're looking for.
Looks like get that with a bunt here. That's what he's going for. So you have runners advance to second and third. So basically exactly like you said, only that it was with a bunt instead of a sac fly. So now you have two players in scoring position potentially if you get the right hit. So now you're at the very top of the batting order with number 10, Will Parker.
Absolutely, and it's those small things that put you in the ability that gives you the ability to succeed. Is those bunts are not easy, and even if you get out, like, it's not easy to do a bunt correctly so you get everyone advanced while only getting yourself out. So now they put themselves in the best position to succeed, and it's because of their abilities to bunt.
Absolutely. So that pitch a little inside, but it'd be called a strike, make it 0-1 count. Here in the bottom of the 6th, 2 outs. We strike 2. Now 0-2 count. And strikeout to get the 3rd out. So even though the Knights had players in prime scoring position on 2nd and 3rd, Brady Owen able to keep composure and pitch the strikeout.
Absolutely, and that's what you needed. That's the beauty of having the pitcher, like being on the defensive side, is that everything is initiated by you, by your team. So therefore, you control what goes on. Because no matter how good of a situation SVU puts them in with the bunts and the hits, and they get 3rd and 2nd, it doesn't matter because your pitcher was just good enough to get that strikeout. So that is definitely what you want if you are the Panthers.
Absolutely. So the score still stands 5-2 now at the top of the 7th. And the Knights still have number 42, Rock Giles, on the mound. Again, the junior from Mesa, Arizona. And last time the Knights took the field, it was 4 batters, 3 outs. They did allow a base hit, but allowed no runs in the previous inning. And if you can keep up that kind of pattern for the next couple of innings, that bodes well for you. You only have 2 innings left.
Absolutely, and like I said, even if you don't have momentum, when you are on the defensive side, you control the play.
Right.
So it is continually an opportunity for you to gain momentum. Momentum is gained on the defensive side first, and then the offensive side.
And what I'm really liking about this game is the irony of it, how the Knights' first loss of the year in this young season was against these Ferrum Panthers. And so basically you're thinking you're on a 5-game losing streak. You have a chance to get back in the win column against the team that started your losing streak in the first place. So the Knights can hold out. That's a huge momentum shifter for the season. As that pitch able to drop down to the strike zone, make it a 0-1 count. Plus also just a sense of redemption as well.
Absolutely. It's a pride thing as well as helping your season and getting it back on track.
That one just a little low into the outside, make it a 1-1 count. And swinging at that one was number 9, Sean Baxter, with number 43, Christian Barcroft, on deck. That one dropped just a little high.
And that sinker is brutal. It is.
Absolutely.
It is close every time when it goes straight down the middle.
That was a low release there from Giles. Make it a full count. A little to the outside. And so Baxter will walk to first. Now with number 43, Christian Barcroft off the bat, with Dylan Sereno on deck. So now you got a runner on first, 0 outs. And again, you had 2 strikes on him. As a pitcher, you got to respond. And he does. Again, you had Barcroft going for the bunt there, and it just dropped below his bat. And that sinker once again, getting Barcroft to swing, makes it an 0-2 count.
So while going for it, he has given up quite a few balls. When it hits, it is a brutal throw. There's no really other way to describe it.
Responds with a strikeout. Again, when you walk someone, it's very easy to get in your own head a little bit. And again, most of pitching is a mental game. but he responds right away. 3 straight strikes. Now up to bat is number 10, Dylan Sereno, with number 2, Justin Brady, on deck. That one's just a little low. That one also just a little low. That's been low 3 straight pitches. That one right down the middle. Make the count 3-1. And Sereno will walk to first, so now runners on first and second. So it's been walk, strikeout, walk.
And it'll be interesting to see if he can focus in because, well, yes, say theoretically he gets 3 strikeouts here, the pattern holds.
Right.
They'll have really good scoring position on that 6th batter. So it's that idea of like you got to be consistent with your throwing.
That one sinks right into the strike zone. Make it 0-1 count. Again with 1 out here on the top of the 7th.
Because no matter how good and amazing your strikeouts are, it doesn't matter if you give up 2 runs in the process. You want the run or 2.
Oh, foul ball. You're absolutely right, Mark. Now you got an 0-2 count after the foul ball. Possible double play here. Almost executing it. Throw just a little low to first. But they were able to get number 10, Dylan Sereno, out at second. So now runners on first and third.
It's a good position to be in to have 2 outs gone, but it does kind of give you a bad position because now you have a runner at third who is not a forced runner.
Right.
So it gives the offense of the Panthers a little bit of flexibility in how they run it. They don't have to put the ball in right field. They don't have to specifically do that. They can play their way.
That one a little low from Giles. Also having a runner on third puts a little bit added pressure on the pitcher. Make sure they got to contain their pitches because if you have one bad pitch that goes off to the side, you could have a runner coming in. That makes it a 1-1 count. That one low from Giles. And runner advanced to second. That being Justin Brady. So again, those small little mistakes, throwing it a little bit low, or the catcher not quite able to get it off the ground, you can be in serious trouble.
And that is a very dramatic example of trying to control the pace with a throw to a base.
And the umpires are discussing here. Try to make sure what Giles did just now was legal or not. No change, so it looks like everything is A-OK. And we'll resume. It's one of those moments where you wish it was like ESPN, where you had the umpires mic'd up and you'd be able to hear exactly what was being discussed.
Absolutely. Or at least just a camera that looks straight into or a replay that tells you what exactly happened.
Absolutely. So now makes it a 2-2 count.
But now after we said that, we're going to get so many comments saying, yeah, add a replay button to Knight's broadcasting.
And a strikeout there from Giles. Great response. Again, you had runners on second and third. Tensions were really high, and you could potentially have it to where you can only be up by 1 run. But the Knights able to escape from the top of the 7th without letting up a single run.
And it's the same way that the SVU had put themselves in a good position base runner-wise, and that the Panthers capitalized on the great pitching. Same so for SVU on defense, capitalizing on the great pitching to get them out of a bad spot.
Absolutely. So now we move on to the bottom of the 7th. The score remains 5-2 in favor of the Knights of Southern Virginia. Again, you just have another inning and a half, or I guess, yeah, an inning and a half in order to make sure that you maintain the lead, that you do what you can at bat and also defensively, and you could end this losing streak. Either way, regardless of who wins today, a losing streak is ending, which is something you like to see. You like to see a team get back to their winning ways. You like to see its team, get back the momentum they had earlier in the season. Because, again, both Southern Virginia and Ferrum College got their wins very early on within the first couple of games, and since then have struggled. But either way, we've seen a lot of great baseball from both sides. A lot of great pitching. A lot of great decision-making as far as running the base is concerned.
Yeah, I think an interesting thing here is that in terms of the hits category, it's SVU to 6, Ferrum College at 2, which is interesting because often with a lot of baseball games, it's you have two hits max throughout the entire game.
Right.
So it's definitely walking that line of there's still great defense being played and great things that are being done by the pitchers and whatnot, but also good things on the offense as well. This is like the perfect baseball game you can imagine, where it's not just a defensive slogfest or a just constant 3 runs every inning. So it's the perfect balance of what makes baseball great.
And I like to see that stat as well, because in the Knights' first home doubleheader of the year, they were leading in the total hits category, but ended up losing both of those games in spite of that. So you like to see the fact they're leading that category and also maintaining the lead throughout the majority of this game so far.
Absolutely.
And I want to once again remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe down below. Also be sure to comment down below, let us know what we're doing, and hit the notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. There's a new pitcher on the mound for the Panthers, and number 54, Wyatt Chaffin, the freshman from Floyd, Virginia, with McCollum at bat. That pitch from Chaffin, a little low. Make it a 1-0 count. That one right down the middle from Chaffin. That one also a little low.
And as the game goes on, you can see the fatigue affecting the pitcher's arms first. With what we saw in the first couple of innings was very methodical pitching, making sure to make the batters uncomfortable, so that way easy ground balls and pop flies were given. Now we're seeing a lot more dramatic of pitching, where the strikes are beautiful, perfect, right down the middle, but there's a lot more balls being given up.
Absolutely. Now the count is 3-1. Now the count is full. That's hit out into left field. And caught by number 2, Justin Brady. Again, the outfield has also done a fantastic job here for the Panthers. Seen a lot of work from number 3, Jaden Johnson.
Absolutely. And while the Panthers do have 3 errors so far in this game, none of them have come from the outfield unit. The outfield unit has been solid whenever they've been called upon to back up the infield or just straight up catch pop flies.
Absolutely. Now at bat for the Knights is number 43, Nick Danes. That makes it an 0-1 count. Danes, the junior from South Jordan, Utah.
And that's the worst type of pitch. It's right on the inside, so even though it is a strike, if you swing at it, it's still going to be an uncomfortable pop fly or foul ball. So that is a very great first pitch for Chapman right there.
And that foul ball makes it an 0-2 count. Should be another easy out. Great job fielding that time for number 10, Dylan Sereno. So 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 7th. And now with number 20, Mitch Smith at bat for the Knights. Seen some words exchanged between Danes and Mitch Smith. That's another thing too, is there's a lot of communication in baseball where the previous batter will go up to the next one saying, hey, he likes to do this. He likes to do this sort of pitch. He has this tendency. That's a whole different part of the ballgame that's not talked about a lot enough.
Absolutely. And you don't think of baseball as like a team sport, because obviously there's a team, but like you think of it as very individual. The pitcher throws, the batter hits, the outfielder catches. It sounds very individual, but the teamwork aspect of baseball is very underrated. Like we were talking about a couple innings ago with the Panthers outfield unit, of the communication, which led to 2 quick outs with no errors. And it's just that underrated aspect of the teamwork of baseball.
Has 2 straight low pitches there from Chaffin. Makes it a 3-0 count. And another low pitch. So Smith will go to first. Now up to bat is Marcelino Leonardo with Jackson Massey on deck.
Yeah, and that's the last thing you want if you're the Panthers, to get not even just a batter on, but a batter on 4 straight balls. That is the last thing you want to see.
And also you have Leonardo at bat as well. Again, we talk about the power behind his swing, what he is capable of. Before we know, you could very potentially see a runner on maybe 1st and 3rd or 2nd and 3rd. Another low pitch. And easily advancing to 2nd is Smith. Chaffin's releasing a lot of his pitches a little late. That's 5 straight pitches that are very low as they go over home plate. Another low pitch. Makes it a 2-0 count.
And this is just an awkward position for the Panthers, because you don't want to put in your closer yet, because you still have two innings to go plus another out here. So it's this awkward position of you don't want to get a new pitcher in there yet, but you also have Chapman struggling to get it down the middle.
That makes the count 3-0 with another low pitch. Leonardo was swinging at that one, makes it a 3-1 count. He could have easily held back. It probably would have been low enough to be a ball. Another ball, so Leonardo will advance to first. So now runners on 1st and 2nd for Southern Virginia after the 2 quick outs to start out things. And now up to bat is number 21, Jackson Massey, with Benji Horsley on deck. Seeing some communication here at the mount with Chaffin. So again, the score stands 5-2 in favor of the Knights. Bottom of the 7th, 2 outs. Runner on first and second. Still a ball, but you see it more in the area where he'd like it to be. Once again, a little low. Make it a 2-0 count. And Massey is more than happy to just let what happens happen. That one right down the middle from Chaffin.
Let's see if that gets him back on track, and because that's what the Panthers need. Is they definitely need him to get back on track, so that way they can close out the last 2 innings.
Foul ball there from Massey. Makes it a 2-2 count. Another foul ball from Massey. Okay, you're seeing these pitches definitely more in the vicinity where Chaffin wants them to be.
Absolutely, and that makes me that this is one of the moments where I wish we had a mic right in the middle of the field to hear what the catcher told him, because ever since that meeting at the mound, it's been different pitches from Chaffman.
Diving and catching it is number 2, Justin Brady. The fantastic diving effort to close out the inning and bring us to the top of the 8th.
And they escaped a close one there with the SVU had really good position on the bases, and they escaped a close one with a great play.
They absolutely did. Again, that was Justin Brady diving for that one. Just fantastic work to close things out for the Panthers. So now again, the Knights maintaining a 5-2 lead, and another change of pitcher for Southern Virginia at the mound now is number 10, Will Parker. Parker, the senior from Simi Valley, California. We'll see them out for the first time today. So he has a lot of power behind his arm there. And he will hope to close out this one the last 2 innings. Now, one thing you have to absolutely avoid at all costs if you're Southern Virginia is the mentality of, oh, the game's almost over, we have the lead, let's just ride it out. No, these are the 2 innings where you have to play your best defense and also just bat at your best, just to make sure you maintain the momentum throughout the rest, or I guess the finishing innings of this game, and not allow the Panthers to have even an inch.
Absolutely. Because baseball's a very long sport. It's very easy to just be like, oh, all right, we're putting the brakes, we're almost there. But it's like I said earlier, the baseball is the sport where you're never out. It's only over when it's over. So you definitely have to bring up the intensity more now than you ever did throughout the entirety of this game.
Absolutely. Now we'll see if the Panthers can get some more runs on the board. Up to bat for the Panthers is number 11, Grayson Chitwood. Right down the middle that time for Parker. Foul ball, making an 0-2 count. And Parker's first 3 pitches are strikes.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about mind games as a pitcher is that third throw of his was definitely not in the strike zone, but because the first 2 were right down the middle, you have that expectation as a batter that the third one is going to be in the strike zone. So that's high quality pitching right there.
And also you have the advantage of the fact that, again, we talked about the amount of times it takes, or the amount of time it takes for batters to get used to a new pitcher. You don't have the luxury of time anymore. You only have 2 innings to try to get back into this one offensively. And so you basically have to just guess at some points rather than slowly figure out the strategy.
Absolutely. And that's the issue is that the Panthers' 2 runs this game have been slow, methodical, well played out runs. But because you're in crunch time, you do not have the luxury of giving up outs to get runs. You have to get runs just straight off hits.
Absolutely. So now that makes it a 3-0 count. That makes it a 3-1 count. That pitch is a little low, and you saw the batter there expecting it to be called a ball. Now it's a full count for Clayton Michael. Two strikeouts. Again, start off with 3 balls to nothing. And then come back to 3 straight strikes. So now up to bat for the Panthers is number 18, Nick Funk. So it's been 2 up, 2 down. We'll see if the Knights can get easily into the bottom of the 8th. That one a little low.
What's interesting about these pitches is that while they're low, there are no danger of going into the dirt. It's very controlled.
Popped up to center field. An error trying to bring it down. That time was number 20, Mitch Smith.
And that right there is right when that standard of outfield play, that first step back, that's right where it kills you. Right when that section where the second baseman cannot get back enough in time, and you cannot get forward enough in time because of your first step, that kills you. So you typically want to do that, but that was a rough hit right there, right in the zone where you just needed to book it forward.
So now the Panthers have a runner on first. And strike 1. Now up to bat is number 8, Tyson Miasimer, with number 9, Sean Baxter on deck. Makes it an 0-2 count. Now the foul ball. Another ball hits the clubhouse.
It's 2 for the game. Favorite statistic of the night.
And I believe both have happened when Ferrum has been up to bat. So if they don't end up coming back in this game, they have that to look on. And a 3rd strike. That's 4 up and 3 down. And Southern Virginia gets back to the plate. So again, inserting number 10, Will Parker on the mound, proving to be a good choice so far. As I have a chance to possibly add a little bit to your lead, give yourself a little bit more cushion going into the final inning. At least that's the hope for Southern Virginia at the moment. Want to once again thank you all for watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe down below. Also, comment down below, let us know how we're doing, and be sure to click the notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. Another shout out to our producers, our camera workers, all those who make this broadcast possible. We appreciate you and all that you do for Knights Broadcasting as well. Another pitcher change for the Panthers is number 37, Matthew Shepard. the junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia. So we'll see if he has the same effect that Will Parker had for Southern Virginia.
Absolutely, because they need it right now. They need him to take over the game like Parker did.
Again, you want to get 3 quick outs. Get yourselves back at home. Get yourselves back to bat. Give yourselves one last chance to make something happen. And, I really didn't have to look down at the roster to see exactly where Matthew Shepard is from. With the beach surfer hair, you kind of make that assumption already. And he's got the unorthodox form there, the sidewinder. We'll see if the Knights are able to adjust to that and get anything done. So now up to bat for Southern Virginia. Will be number 44, Benji Horsley. We'll have number 12, St. John Johnson on deck. That one a little to the outside for Shepard. Narrows that one more in, make it a 1-1 count. Shortstop gets it out at first.
And that's exactly what you want. You want to make your batters uncomfortable, get back to what was doing well in the first 2 innings, and then keep it going from there.
And number 23, Cannon Doob, able to field that one and get to first. Now up to bat for the Knights is number 12, St. John Johnson, with number 25, Stockton Hall on deck. That was a little to the outside. Now, the interesting thing about Shepard's form is that most pitchers are pitching basically top down. So the trajectory usually is going from high to low. Whereas for his technique, what he does, he throws it across his body, so it's more from right to left. So it could be released from inside the strike zone, but could end up very well meandering out to outside and make the batter stretch forward and reach for that hit.
Absolutely. It's a very difficult pitching form to master, and but it can be very lucrative because most batters obviously don't face that. Because it's so difficult, they don't face it very often, so it's a double-edged sword.
Makes the count 2-1. And that ends up escaping into center field, so base hit for Johnson. Now runner on first with Stockton Hall up to bat. Well placed because it made it to where number 23, Cannon Doob, wasn't able to get there in time.
And you have to like the effort of the shortstop to dive for that, but there's only so much you can do when it's just right down the middle.
So just 1 out, a runner on first. That bunt will be a foul ball. So again, Stockton Hall's focus clearly just to try to advance St. John Johnson to second. That one too far to the inside. Make it a 1-1 count. Trying to pick off Johnson at first. Way to the outside. Makes it a 2-1 count. And an infield error gives him the single. Would have been close had number 23, Cannon Duke, been able to get it initially. Now the Knights have runners on first and second. Now back to the top of the lineup with number 10, Will Parker, up to bat with Nate McCollum on deck.
And this is the worst possible position you want to be in if you're the Panthers. You got 2 runners on base. They only have 1 out, so SVU still has an opportunity to burn it out for an advancement. So this is the worst possible situation you'd want to be in at this point. And
also the fact that you haven't had an inning where you've had a lot of hits consistently going to where you can get several runs in one inning. They've gotten a run in individual innings so far, and you're already down by 3 runs. So if the Knights are able to do something with this and get maybe just even 1 run in, if the pattern holds, it almost puts this game a little out of reach for the Panthers. Of course, never say never, but it wouldn't necessarily bode well for you.
Absolutely. Because when you're down, you need to put yourself in the best position possible to win.
Right.
You have to do everything in your power, and right now it is not looking good for the Panthers.
The count now 2-0. Hit out to right field. It looks like he'll be out at home as Johnson was trying to slide in. So they have runners on first and third. Love the effort there from Johnson. But great work from Ferrum College to get it back to home plate in time.
And now that great position from SVU, Holt looks a whole lot less good due to the great effort on that defensive play.
Absolutely. So now again you have runners on first and third. So you're still in scoring. You're still in reach of getting a run in, but now you have 2 outs. You have Nate McCollum at bat. That one a little inside there.
Yep, exactly. Like you're still in a good position. You still have the runner in scoring position, but the ball is in the Panthers' court now. It is their ability to close out this inning without you having the opportunity to get that run.
Right. That makes the count 2-0. But kind of going back to what I said before, if the Knights can just get the runner they have on third in, that could very well be a big enough difference. Too much to overcome for the Panthers.
Absolutely, because each individual run just increases. Obviously, increases the lead. That was the most obvious thing I've ever said. But the difficulty just that much more increases.
Right, it increases the steepness of the hill you have to overcome in order to get back in this game and take it back.
Absolutely.
Again, that run on third is number 25, Stockton Hall. Now the count stands 3-1. And walking now is Nate McCollum. Bases loaded with number 43, Nick Danes, up to bat.
It's the classic baseball situation. 2 outs in the inning, bases loaded. We'll see who takes...
Bottom of the 8th, chance to increase your lead, make it a little out of reach.
But it also gives it, if you manage to put it away, it gives it kind of demoralizing to leave 3 batters out there on base. So it's a very much a momentum swinger right here. Further put it away for SVU or to give yourself a great defensive stop to get going in your last offensive possession.
Absolutely, and that first pitch a little inside will be a strike for Shepard. And Dane's able to pull his swing as that one was too far inside, make it a 1-1 count. Foul ball into left field. Makes it a 1-2 count. So like you said, Mark, this next pitch or the next, at least the next pitch can be a huge swing either way. It's like a double hinge door right now. Either way, whoever pushes hardest That ball makes it a 2-2 count. That one a little outside, make it a full count now.
Now it really is the classic baseball situation. Bases loaded, full count, 2 outs.
So now Shepard, again, like I said, is in a sticky situation. If he walks his batter, it will be an immediate run for Southern Virginia. And that's popped up into the outfield. And caught by number 17, Bailey Hodges, the senior from Chesterfield, Virginia. So, in spite of having bases loaded, the Knights come away with no runs in that inning as we move to the top of the 9th, and the Knights have a chance to close this game out.
And we'll see, because obviously with that situation, you're very tense if you were the Panther. Like, at that moment, you were very tense. We'll see if they continue playing with tension, or if they're able to take a deep breath, let it out, and just say, we got away. We have it is our opportunity now to just take back this game.
Well, I'm sure you heard a collective sigh of relief from the Ferrum College dugout when Bailey Hodges brought down that pop fly, able to bring it down, close out the inning. And now, like you said, will they take the momentum? Because that's a huge stop right there. Whenever defensively you shut down a bases-loaded situation and don't allow any runs, that's got to fill you with at least a sense of confidence to where you can go into this inning, at least get a run or two in, at least make things a little interesting, now down by 3 runs.
Absolutely.
And we want to once again give a shout out to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. We talk about them a lot on the broadcast, and for good reason. They make a great product. Go and check them out today if you're in the Buena Vista, Virginia area. Straws Drinks and Eats, thank you so much for your support. And also, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing, and hit that notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. We thank you so much for supporting Southern Virginia Athletics via Knights Broadcasting. So again, right now, all the pressure's on Southern Virginia's defense. Can they close it out? Can they get just 3 quick outs? And helping solve that question will be number 10, Will Parker, on the mound for the Knights.
It'll be interesting because the pattern has been, as time has gone on, the batters have done better against the pitchers. But obviously, Will Parker had a brilliant inning in the 8th, so it'll be an interesting thing to see which narrative wins out.
And that first pitch is a little low from Parker. That one right down the middle. Make it a 1-1 count. This is Baxter at bat. Baxter, the sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia. That's a 2-1 count. That one right down the middle from Parker as well. Count stands at 2-2. So now that Baxter has seen 2 straight pitches go right down the middle. Yep, exactly right. A swing and he hits it, and Stockton Hall not able to field it, so a single there for the Panthers.
And that's not what you want to see if you're the Knights. Good pitching set followed by a perfect ground ball for you to field, and it just doesn't happen.
So now up to bat for the Panthers is number 43, Christian Barcroft. Now a little to the inside from Parker. Make it a 1-0 count. Hit right down the center of the field. This will be a single as Baxter advances to second. This thing's playing out pretty well so far for the Panthers.
Yeah, you couldn't really draw up a better way unless you hit 2 straight home runs. You really couldn't draw up a better way to start off this inning trying to get back into this game.
And if you're Southern Virginia, again, being the top of the 9th, the Knights would bat at the bottom of the 9th. Should Ferrum come back and tie things up or take the lead, But right now, if you're Southern Virginia, you just want to close this thing out. We got a change in the lineup with number 31, Dawson Mumwa, freshman from Mount Jackson, Virginia. They changed up, actually. Is actually number 21, Enrique Diaz. So again, Ferrum College want to shake things up here, give themselves the best chance to make something happen with runner on first and second. Make that an 0-2 count. Again, you have runners on first and second with 0 outs right now. And it'll be hit on his hand, and now base is loaded.
And with 2 strikes, you definitely didn't want to see that happen. That is the worst possible scenario you could have drummed up right there.
And now you're up by 3 runs. Again, top of the 9th. You have bases loaded. And you have a batter coming up. Now, if things don't go Southern Virginia's way, you could very well see it being tied up here really quickly.
Absolutely. Ferrum College is in the position you want. Like this, if you are going to be down going into the 9th inning, this is the position you want.
There's a bit of a conversation happening. I believe they're switching out pitchers for the Knights. So it looks like Parker will be done. He had a fantastic 8th inning. Actually, no, they'll keep him at the mound. Pardon me. So head coach Jerry Schlegelmilch opting to trust Will Parker a little bit here. And I just want to talk out the scenario that they're in. Again, we mentioned bases loaded, 0 outs. You got to play these next couple of pitches very carefully. And strike 1. Make it 0-1 count. That one a little low. And again, you're in that situation where any mild mistake
could be very detrimental.
Absolutely. Again, you have a runner on third who, if the pitch sails past the catcher or if they try to make a play anywhere else, you could easily have him coming in and bringing it within 2 runs. This is the out at home. So they save the run.
And give themselves 1 out as a buffer. That is huge for them, because what you could have, as the Panthers, you have no outs. That gives you 2 sac flies or bunts that you can utilize to advance runners. Which down 3 obviously just puts you one more hit away, and you are back into this game forcing extra innings if in the bottom of the 9th SVU doesn't do anything. So that out
has popped up into left field and caught by Nate McCollum. So great work from the Knights outfield. So now you have 2 outs and still haven't allowed any runs in this inning.
And now the situation for the Panthers has gone from great to hanging on the edge of a knife point. So it is gone downhill very quickly in these last 2 batters.
So still bases loaded for the Panthers. That makes it an 0-1 count. That one just high. That looked like it was right in the strike zone. Indeed, that one was. Make it a 1-2 count. Just one pitch away, potentially, from closing it out here. And that'll do it. The Knights escape a scenario where the Panthers have bases loaded, and Parker comes in clutch with a strikeout to end the 5-game losing streak and continue the 4-game losing streak for the Panthers.
And they finally got the monkey off their back that started this entire losing streak, and they have their season on course now if they have the opportunity to take it. Again,
like we mentioned before, Ferrum College was the first team the Knights lost to earlier in the year. So we mentioned before, like you just said, Mark, getting the monkey off your back, getting some redemption, and also just kind of letting yourself know that you are capable of winning games. But sometimes one thing that happens when you go on a losing streak is sometimes you start to think to yourself, is winning a game even a possible thing that we can even do or any team can do? Is that even a thing that exists? But getting a win like that in such a pressured situation like that's a huge testament to you as a team, and it just shows, hey, we can handle tough situations. We don't just need things to go fully our way in order to get a victory. We can handle situations where we have bases loaded and we need one strikeout to close things out. We are capable of those things.
Absolutely, and especially with the Panthers gaining momentum throughout that game. Like, we went up 4-0, and then they got 2 runs in individual innings. That understanding that we can take a lead and we can keep it, because that's often gaining a lead is often easier than keeping it. So
right.
So it's definitely a testament to the fortitude of this SVU team that they now have the ability to get out of their losing streaks and to continue winning.
Absolutely. So Ferrum College advances now to 3-6 on the year, and the Knights advance to 3-5. Again, getting their first victory since the 15th of February, and their first home victory in front of their own crowd. And once again, you've been watching this on Knights Broadcasting. I'm Dawson Weeder. Today I've been joined by Mark Duffin. It's been a pleasure commentating this game with you, Mark. And once again, be sure to like, subscribe down below, click the notification bell so you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for your support. Good night, God bless, and go Knights.